Hi everybody, I hope you're having a great day. I am now just a few weeks out from heading on the world race. I can't believe it's finally here. I'm so excited, and as I'm spending these last few weeks getting so many last minute things together, it's like an endless list. I'm also trying to get spiritually ready as well. And so I have been kind of wrestling with this idea and question, and I feel that other people are probably wondering it as well. The idea is, why am I going out and helping people in other countries when there's help needed right here in the United States? I think that other people are kind of wondering this. I have that sense when I talk to people, and also I know that some of the other racers on my squad have expressed that people have straight up asked them that. And so I have wondered that, and I've spent time talking to the Lord about it, reading scripture, and forming my own answer to that. So I felt the Lord telling me last night that I should make a video on it. So I just have a few verses that I want to share and just a few ideas that have led me to my answer. So first, I believe that with my faith, with my religion, that I'm not bound to one country with it. I have my Bible right here, and I have open Matthew 28:19. Jesus tells the disciples to go, therefore, and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. It says to make disciples of all nations. It doesn't say make disciples of one nation or of your own nation. It's of all nations. And so as a Christian, I really take this verse really seriously, and that I do need to do that. And so I believe that with this trip, I will be able to fulfill that command from the Lord. And also in Luke chapter 10, it's when Jesus is sending out the 72 to go and preach the gospel. So in Luke 10, starting in verse 2, it says, "And he said to them, the harvest is plentiful, but the laborers are few. Therefore, pray earnestly to the Lord of the harvest to send out laborers into his harvest. Go your way. Behold, I am sending you out as lambs in the midst of wolves." Just two of many different verses that I've read that shows that we are supposed to not stay in our same place, but to go out and spread the gospel and help others. Also, this doesn't mean that I'm now going to stay in these other countries. I am going to come back next November, and I plan on, if the Lord wants me to stay here. So I'll be helping people in the U.S. In different times of my life. So it's not that I'm never going to help anyone else again in the country. It's just right now in my life, I'm called to go to other countries. So something else that has also helped me to make this decision is my church, Harvest in DeSalle. They have this whole idea of being sent, and it's being sent here, near, and far. And I believe that as Christians, we are called to one of those areas. It can change during your life, but I think that you are called to one of those areas all throughout your life. So just an example for each one. So being sent far, there's a couple at our church, Paige and Jonas. So Jonas is from Germany, but Paige is not. She's actually from the South Side. And they have been called to now move to Germany and to start planting churches there. So Paige is not called to be here or near. She's called to be far and to go to a different country and help her husband plant these churches. And so an example of near is a pastor at my church. He is planting a new church in Franklin Township. So he is being called near. So he's going somewhere else in Indiana and spreading the gospel by planting a new church for the area. And then being sent here, the example I want to give is my parents. They have lived on the South Side for forever. My dad has lived there all of his life, and my mom has basically all of her life. And they actually lived in Florida for a little bit, and then they weren't there for very long, and they came back here. And I even know at some point in their life, in the last several years, they have thought about moving to Knoxville because we have a lot of family there. But my dad it didn't work out with his career and everything, and so they just have really felt from the Lord that they're supposed to stay here in Indiana and in Greenwood area, just South Side area. And so I think though that's really great that they listened to the Lord, that they didn't just go somewhere else, because they were able to help plant Harvest City South. And my mom is the leader with the kids ministry, my dad's a deacon, and so they've just played really significant roles in starting this church, and they wouldn't be able to do that if they would have just gone somewhere else. But they felt from the Lord that they're supposed to be called here. And I felt that last year, because I don't regret at all when I chose to sign up for the World Race, because last year in 2018, I really do feel like I was sent here because I was a youth group leader, and so I served middle school girls every Sunday, and I really feel like I was supposed to be there and do that. And so so I was sent here last year, and now I am being sent far in 2020. After that, I don't know where I'm going to be sent, but I'm ready for any of the three. And so so that's another reason why I want to go out to these countries, because I do feel like that God is truly calling me to be sent to these countries at this time. And another reason why I want to go is because I really do feel that this trip is going to be just a huge learning curve, a huge growing experience for myself. And I don't mean that to be selfish. It's because, the ultimate goal in my life is to help other people, and I can't pour into other people's lives if I'm not filling myself up at all, if I'm not learning and growing myself. And so with Adventures in Missions, who does the World Race, they're so intentional with how they do this trip, and they're really teaching us a lot. They're teaching us different. Like, I just had to take some courses before heading out into the race, and a lot of it taught us like different communication styles and different ways to hear from the Lord and to speak to Him. And I know they're gonna really teach us that and help us to apply that to our everyday life when we're on the race. Our leaders will help us with that. So then I'll be able to apply that when I come back. So I'll be a better communicator, a better leader, and just, I'm just gonna be able to grow a lot, and it's gonna help me as I continue to build the kingdom here on earth. And also, I have been introduced to this whole concept of kingdom journeys, and I think it's really cool. There's a book that I'm reading by Seth Barnes. He is the founder of Adventures in Missions and the World Race, and he has this whole idea of going on a kingdom journey, and he believes it's a spiritual discipline that Jesus gave to his disciples, and it's kind of been lost over the years, and he's wanting to reintroduce it and bring it back and encourage people to go on their kingdom journey. And so kind of unknowingly, that's what I've been doing by deciding to go on the World Race. He has this idea of like having the gift of restlessness, which I definitely was having that, because this is probably a story for a whole other day, but February of 2018 is when I rededicated my life to the Lord. And so after a few months of kind of getting back in the groove of that, of going to church every Sunday and being involved, getting connected and involved in my church, spending my own personal time with the Lord consistently, kind of after a few months of that, I was like, okay, I need to be doing more for Him, and I don't know what that looks like. And so I just didn't want to be comfortable in my 9-to-5 job. So that's what led me to doing the World Race. But again, another story for another day, probably, for that. So I just want to read an excerpt of the book. He's talking about like why you should go on a kingdom journey. So he says, I pray that you're not already there, feeling boxed in by routine, bored by the daily grind, and able to see your way out of it, and wondering if you're living the best version of your life. Perhaps even now, something inside of you is longing for a pilgrimage, a plunging into mystery and possibility, a glimpse of who you could become if only you weren't saddled by so many expectations. Maybe it's time you let God send you on a journey. He wants to take you on an adventure to experience the most amazing things in the world. Wherever you go, I believe you'll discover that He'll meet you on the way in a variety of disguises and at the most unexpected moments. When He does, it will cause you to put your status quo self into foreclosure and put a down payment on your truest self. And like so many before you, at some point in the future, you will look back to celebrate that day you began to live as your true self, the day you chose to leave. So when I read that for the first time, I was like, yes, let's go. I was so excited. And so, that is another reason why I am going on the world race is to figure out exactly my purpose in life, and because like I've said, I really want to help people. I just don't know exactly what that looks like, and so I sense from the Lord that my life is supposed to go in a different direction than where it is right now, and I believe that He is going to send me in that direction through the world race. And so again, like I've said, I have no idea where I'm going to be when I come back in November. Am I gonna just stay back in Indy? Am I gonna go to a different country? Am I gonna go to a different state? I don't know, but I'm open for anything and just ready to see how the Lord's gonna continue to use me for His kingdom and for His good.